Hey everybody, welcome to this podcast. David here, and this podcast we're talking about money. We're kind of doing a 6-month exploration reset into money, into beliefs, just to see how you're going and maybe to bring up and help you have new ideas about money. So 6 months is always a great time to review where you're at in any area, whether it's health, whether it's business, and also money. Money's something we all have to have, and sometimes it's devilishly difficult, if you like, to manage your emotions around money. There's so much riding on it. And so this is for anybody that wants to just have a money review. If you're struggling with money at the minute, then this will also help. If you're not, then maybe it will help you understand where your really positive beliefs are about money, and you can then transfer those out to other areas of your life. So what we want to do is we just want to take a nice deep breath initially, kind of get centered into this audio, which will be about 10 minutes long, something along those kind of lines, so that we can really help you connect with your abundance. So let's just take a nice deep breath for now, whether you're driving or whatever you're doing. Just take a nice deep breath and let's get centered into the conversation. And it's an important conversation. Take a nice deep breath again. There we go. And whatever the first half of 2025 looked like to you, with the wins or the wobbles or the curveballs or the great stuff, the fact is, given the simultaneous nature of time, given our ability to create what we want, none of that has to dictate anything that comes next. So every moment is brand new. And the fact is, creation only ever starts here. And in the Seth material, a body of work that I absolutely adore, there is talking about, given the simultaneous nature of time, the power of the present moment. So use the power of the present moment to bring yourself in and recognize that no moment that's happened before has to dictate the next moment. So I tend to find myself sometimes thinking about money, and I might kind of jump on the banking app, whatever it is, and the key is that there's always more money in there than I think there's going to be. And that's a belief I've really wanted to kind of instill in myself. And remember that we create our own reality. You create your own personal reality. It doesn't matter what happens with anybody else in any other area of the world. Your own view of reality is your own view. You create your own version of it. And so it's really important to understand that, and it's also, I find, really liberating to understand there's only one set of beliefs that you need to kind of get hold of and to organize and to structure, and that's your belief system. The whole of your reality and the whole of reality itself will come into line with your core and most powerfully held beliefs. And so that's what we need to do. So first of all, we have to accept that the reality that we're experiencing, I'm here talking to appearing, looks like a solid microphone with a computer. I'm looking out the window outside there appears to be time and space, but actually there's not. That's all an illusion, as if it were a dream. And so this reality that we're in right now responds to my thoughts, to my every thought, to my every emotion. It's just our senses don't allow us to actually see it easily. It's only when it turns into obvious events that we notice it. But the fact is, I want to get across initially, at the end of the day, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions and desires actually create the reality that you're in. That reality, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is a responsive mechanism. It's fluid, even though it looks solid. It's all made of energy, consciousness, and therefore when we talk about beliefs, we're not talking about anything that's kind of inert. We're talking about things that flow, that make impact, and ultimately will reflect back to you your beliefs, because that's what we're doing here. We're learning to create our own reality. So even if we don't understand exactly how beliefs work, or we can't see the impact of them initially, what we have to do is we have to learn to understand what we believe, how they're blocking us, particularly in this term, in terms of money, and then how to get results, because that's really what we're after. We're not after any kind of fluff. We're actually looking at how to get results. So most people think beliefs are just thoughts that we repeat, okay? But a belief is not a thought. A belief is something, it's an idea that we hold to be true. It's not like just a simple thought. It has more focus and structure than a thought. And so that's how you need to think about it. It's not the passing thoughts that you have about things that really impact the world and your reality. It's the beliefs that you have, and beliefs drive emotions and expectations. So initially we can think of beliefs as unconscious agreements. They kind of filter how we see, their doorways, if you like, they're initiators, and they shape how we see, how we feel, and how we experience reality. They're like an invisible code that's running your own personal operating system. And most of that code was written before you even knew it was being written. And by that I mean they're ideas that you got from your parents. Me too, obviously. Everybody does, from parents, from society where we're younger. So the code was written not often intentionally by parents. If you're a parent like me, I try and be very intentional about what I say, how I act around my children, because I know it's so powerful. And so the key is to make these things conscious. So where do these core beliefs, and a core belief is something you really hold to be true. Okay, so you've got thoughts, these things just kind of, running around our mind. Then you've got beliefs, things that you go, okay, yeah, that's what I believe about myself. That money is good, money is bad. I'm a good person, I'm a bad person, whatever it is. And then you've got core beliefs, and core beliefs are almost invisible. They're things that really come from, they're things that build up in terms of the architecture and the structure of your belief system, and they're really deeply embedded. It doesn't mean they're inaccessible. I just mean that they tend to be, in terms of hierarchy, you've got core beliefs, then you've got beliefs, and then you've got thoughts and emotions all follow from that process. So where do core money beliefs come from? Because that's what we're talking about today. Well, childhood experiences. I can certainly, without going into too much detail, I have in my other areas, little cup of tea to keep wet and fluid. So certainly my own experience around money in terms of my parents and my early growing up was probably as fragmented, probably more fragmented, I would imagine, than most. But it was fragmented, and it really didn't have any positive beliefs around money. It didn't have any kind of overtly negative ones until a certain situation came up, but that really brought these ideas of money together, money not being good, money being dangerous, if you like, as well. And so we get our childhood experiences, and it might be something you heard which is like, we can't afford that, or we just don't have the money, or we can't make any money, whatever it is, whatever these beliefs that you were told again and again and again, mostly from parents, then these turn into core beliefs, things that you identify as your identity. Now there are cultures or religious beliefs, new age beliefs, interesting ones, because a lot of healers and coaches and practitioners regard themselves as spiritual, but regard money as not spiritual. Yeah, there's this unconscious bias, if you like, towards money not being spiritual. So that's a key one. Another one is, what's the message? Blessed are the poor, or blessed are the meek. That there's something pious, there's something positive about struggling for money. That's another one as well. We've got family dynamics, of course, just talked about that, which are conflicts or not talking about money or whatever it would be. And so what happens is your nervous system you decided and you told your nervous system, mostly unconsciously, what was safe and what was unsafe for you. Is money safe for you? Is having it safe, keeping it safe, investing it safe? Or is it better to not have any money at all? These are the things that we individually kind of agree with ourselves, and then we tie them to our identity, we tie them to our ideas of safety, and of course worth. And it's no coincidence that the idea of worth, the word worth, is connected to our self-worth and also our financial worth as well. So there's common scripts that I see in clients that having done hypnosis, so I'm a master hypnotherapist and master NLP practitioner, when I was working with clients, there are common things that I see. So common beliefs are things like, I have to struggle to earn. So money's hard to get is one. And it blocks abundance because if it's easy, it's got to be wrong. Okay. So that's the key, is that you subconsciously create friction when there doesn't have to be any, even when freedom of income is available. And I've kind of fallen into that trap many a time. So having more than I want is greedy. Okay, now that blocks abundance because overflow of money or an abundance of money feels dangerous. You reject surplus by overspending or undercharging, or the ideas that people have. We hear of people who win the lottery and then they've lost all their money. 6 months later, they spend it, they give it away, they lose it, they gamble it, whatever it is. And that's what, that abundance block, if you like, is at play there. Money isn't spiritual. Just wanted to go over that one again. You split your spiritual and your financial life, and what happens is you shrink both rather than expanding both. Another one, I'm not good with money. So a single childhood comment. I know people have had that, where people say that, parents bring up children and say, well, you're not very clever, you're not going to be very good with money. And that does create lifelong self-fulfilling prophecies, of course, because we create our own reality. And then also the final one I'll talk about is around kind of worth again, because when I had the healing center, for 10 years working with people, self-worth really affects everything. It's a core belief that affects everything. And so the idea that you've got to prove yourself, that just by being, you're not worthy to have money. You've got to prove yourself. And society is not very good at society is very good at actually trying to prove that, because we're all trying to prove our worth. And so it's really key that you understand you don't have to over deliver. You are born into a state of grace. Abundance is yours. It's your birthright. And so you don't have to chase permission, as it were, to be abundant. So the key truth in all of this kind of area is that beliefs don't have to be true to be powerful. They just have to be active. So I'll say that again. Beliefs don't have to be true. They just have to be active. And that's the key. 90% of the beliefs we have about ourselves are untrue. Often people have never had an original thought. They're just thinking what their parents or society or religion told them to do. And so the beliefs you have, the beliefs I have about reality, the key to manifesting, creating what you want, is to get as close as you can to rock bed reality, that abundance is natural, that we create our own reality, and to activate those beliefs. They're the things. Because again, at the end of the day, you will suffer with your beliefs if you don't take control of them. So if a limiting belief that you've got is active, what it does is it filters out through the brain, through the five senses, and no matter how many kind of businesses you do or affirmations, that you chant, if your nervous system doesn't believe that receiving is safe, if you in the body and in the mind, in your being, then you're not going to receive any money. You're not going to be able to create any money. And the part that most manifesting teachers skip is that beliefs aren't mental, they're energetic. Okay, they kind of come out of your pores, if you like. They are the frequency of your being. They are a felt sense agreement stored within the body, and they shape your emotional tone, your behavior. They shape, and other people notice kind of the facial parts of the body, how you act. It's all part of this, because everything is energy and everything is consciousness. And so what we have to do, if you want a new money reality in the back end of 2025, we've got to go a little bit deeper, the mindset. We've got to rewrite the energy underneath, right at the core levels. And that's what we're going to do. So let's go on to look at abundance. And one thing that really helped me was looking outside at the abundance of nature. So nature's extravagant, okay? One apple seed becomes an orchard, rivers fill oceans, and then clouds refill rivers. Scarcity is in fact a human invention. It's an invention of the industrial age. And if we can see ourselves and nature as abundant and ourselves as part of nature, then we're able to kind of make that little connection a little bit more. So, in 1997, I opened one of the first independent Reiki and spiritual centers in the UK, and I priced myself for affordability. Now, what that meant, I actually came from a very good job running a whole bunch of restaurants and, earning a lot of money. But when I came into thinking of the spiritual world, I was confronted with a whole bunch of beliefs about, I should be only charging this much an hour and that type of thing. And that caused me many, many problems. It squeezed everything. I had 3 children. I still have 3 children, but they were younger, a lot younger then. And the difficulty was I really had to work out what was happening in that belief system. And fast forward now, I'm able, in terms of marketing or in terms of what I'm doing, to charge a lot more money. And when I started my marketing business, because I was doing marketing for my own company, for the healing center, and then other people invited me to say, hey, would you do the marketing for me, other healers and coaches? And I went from, again, charging hourly rate to charging up to $20,000 per client over the years. And that was just a shift in belief about my value, about what I can offer and what I can do. I was offering the same thing, but actually it was a new kind of belief grid I was operating from. Yeah, and the fact is clients happily paid, the results were good, my reality kind of realigned with all that kind of stuff. So what I would say is the key, if you're actually in business and you're charging, is have different rates, but make sure if you're really spending a lot of time with somebody, doing a lot of work for them, that you really do charge a premium rate, a high ticket rate for what you're doing. The key lesson there for me was that reward isn't kind of about being spiritually aligned, okay? It's the evidence of it. The more I recognized that nature is abundant, I'm part of nature, and aligned myself with that, the evidence of that began to flow. I was more comfortable to charge more. People were happy to pay. I was offering different services at different income levels for people, and the key is I'd kind of let my false humility, if you like, cap what I was doing. I said, no, you can't pay me this money. I was thinking about other people way too much, and at the end of the day, it caused a financial problem. So what I would say is that nature is abundant. You are part of nature, so don't resist the idea of allowing that abundance to come into your life. I'm not saying you need to charge huge amounts of money and not help people who can't quite afford that, but you do need to make sure that you're able to receive money at whatever level. And I offer bursaries for people and that type of thing, but I also charge very good rates, expensive rates for some of the work that I do as well. All right, so nature is abundant. Core beliefs are those that we take on board at an early age, and what we want to do is begin to challenge those. So let's go into a little mini kind of activation to help you. So what I want you to do is and obviously if you're driving, you're doing anything that you can't do this, what I want you to do when you're ready, so just pause this if you are driving or whatever. If not, then I want you to get yourself into a nice relaxed state. We'll go on a little journey just for a couple of minutes of visualization. And what I want you to do is when you're ready, get yourself all snuggled up, and I want you to just listen to the sound of my voice when we're going to slow things down, really help you just relax and help you visualize the next part of 2025 in an abundant way. So that's it. Take a nice few deep breaths for me. That's it. Nice and relaxed. That's great. Breathe all the way down into your belly. Relax your shoulders and your mind. That's it. That's great. And then what I want you to do is just follow the sound of my voice. And whatever happens, whatever sounds you hear, whatever happens in your mind, you're still going to focus easily and effortlessly on the sound of my voice, the direction that it's going to take, and you're going to follow it. And so right now I want you to imagine that it's the 31st of December 2025. Get the feeling. It's New Year's Eve. You're feeling good, you're feeling positive. And what you do is you get your phone or you're on your computer and you have a look at your accounts, at your financials, and it feels great. You're actually smiling to yourself. Your income has exceeded every logical projection. The magic has worked for you in the last 6 months of 2025. You don't know how, and it doesn't matter, but you've attracted money into your life. Your nervous system is feeling good, like a well-tuned engine. Success feels normal to you as you breathe and relax. So what you want to think about is I want you to sense a parallel timeline. And in that parallel timeline, you hit those numbers months ago. You've had money in your bank account for a lot longer than just December the 31st. Money began to come into your life faster and faster and faster. And that parallel reality that exists now, I want you to begin to connect with it and bring it in. You could whisper to it, we are one reality. This reality is mine. The abundance is mine. And you're claiming your timeline. literally changing the timeline. You're saying to yourself it's okay to have an abundance of money. Still in your mind, you're looking at your account in part of your mind in September and October and November, seeing the money come in, feeling good and feeling positively. You can feel yourself vibrating at a deeply attractive level to money and abundance. And I want you to go into your subconscious mind now. I want you to choose to let go of those limiting beliefs. Choose to let go of them. That's it. Just see them like clouds ebbing away. And so I want you to name this little mini journey we're doing. It could be an embodied visualization, an abundance visualization, but just name it now. And then I want you to, I'm going to click my fingers, name it, and I want you to lock that into your energetic conscious and subconscious system. You can come back and replay this anytime that you like. But get the feeling of December 2025, 31st, glancing at your accounts, feeling, laughing, getting ready for the party and the celebration, knowing you've got a huge amount of money in your bank account. You're creating that muscle memory. Feels good. Now bring yourself back. And let's just finish off talking about a couple of things. So when you're ready, I want to talk about manifestation, really, or what it is. It's about focus. You get what you focus on in every single moment. Every moment that you stay present to your new ideas, your new beliefs, then you collapse the gap between what you want and the actual experience. The power of the present moment. You stay in that moment. So my leap from £50 an hour, whatever, to 20,000 a client didn't start with fancy branding. Just made a decision. And now they're normal. If somebody wants to work with me in a certain way, that's a completely normal rate. And that's great. And reality rearranged itself. So if you're going about your day and you notice those old beliefs coming up, I want you to neutralize them. You might have a little kind of frame of mind, which if you notice something comes up, you notice, you kind of name it, oh, that's a limitation. Neutralize it. Just say, I neutralize you. My new choice is this. Yeah. Notice the trigger, name the belief, neutralize it with what you want, and then choose an aligned action. And do that daily. Every single day you're making that choice. So how do you feel now? How do you feel now? You feel okay? Hope you do. Let's review in our mind the power, the ability that you have to create what you want. It's true. It's real. You just have to understand it's a process. It's a step-by-step process that you can master. There's more to explore, of course there is. But midway through 2025, review the money, use that journey, and use this as a stepping stone so that you can really begin to manifest abundance. So if you need extra help with this, then you can get in touch with me. You can have a Money Reboot one-to-one session, which is great, where we use energy and we use manifesting trance. It's really enjoyable and great fun. Well, we've got a money manifesting course that you can take as well, which will take you even deeper. But I hope you enjoyed that. And at the end of the day, the key is to just relax and allow the natural abundance of reality to come to you, through you. Abundance is your birthright. And the fact is, your next 6 months start right now. So let's take a nice deep breath. Center ourselves back into our new abundant, our greater abundant reality. And we will leave it there. Lots of love. See you on the next one. And take care.